welcome back to Hearts Wide Open,
the Men's Health Podcast.
Yes, we are back with Suresh and myself, Dennis. Hello, and we're happy to bring you another episode, and super interesting one because we have a lovely guest over today. He's sitting right here between us. His name is Lenny. Hi, Lenny.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
We actually all worked for the same youth organization in the past, so yeah, I know Lenny for a long time. And I remember having really cool conversations, also men's health or mental health related conversations with you in the past, and always very stimulating topics. We also recorded one or two episodes before on your podcast, that you had in the past. Gonna link those in the description for you all, so you can see how Lenny and I were like 7 years ago.
No, not that long, but a bit further in the past.
How we looked and how we were doing podcasts at the time was also my first time on a podcast. So yeah, we're returning the favor now. We have you on as a guest on a different format and hopefully a little bit more advanced now because we all grew, of course.
Are you shaming my podcast now?
I'm not shaming you. Nice.
I think he's shaming himself on your...
I was very young on that one, you know? And I think if we would re-record it now, I would probably have different things to say. But nice one. One thing that is really special and that we find really incredible is your story with social media. That's something we wanted to talk about. I think 2 years ago or 3 years ago, a while back, I wanted to post something on social media and I was trying to tag you in a story and couldn't find you on Instagram. And then I texted you, hey, what happened? How can I not find you on Instagram? You were just gone. And then you obviously told me what happened.
I blocked you. I don't want to be with you anymore. Cancel the friendship.
What happened? What did you do? Why did you disappear from Instagram?
I just tried to delete my account over multiple, I'm sure it was almost weeks, because Meta has these interesting features, right? If you want to delete your account, that they give you a 30-day grace period. That meaning that if you log in back to your account once in those 30 days, you can retrieve your account and everything is still saved. And it might be 30 days, might be a different time by now, but once you pass the 30 days, your account is deleted permanently. And then, of course, how addiction is with social media, you keep coming back over and over again. But eventually the time passed, became longer and longer between me deleting the account and going back onto it. And then at some point, I honestly even forgot when exactly it was, but it must have been around 2 years ago. The 30 days passed and I tried to log in back once and I saw, oh, my account is gone. And then for a second I thought, oh, now it's actually completely gone. But I've been very happy without it so far. It was a very pragmatic decision-making process for me, I would say, because I started to realize just that the time spent on there was not really giving me anything in return anymore. And I would notice myself thinking after whether there was doom scrolling, whether there was just comparing myself to others on the platform and stalking people and seeing what's happening there, the FOMO here, FOMO there, all of these things that these social media platforms can trigger within us.
So it sounds like your approach was a bit gradual. So you left for few weeks, then you came back. You left for a few weeks, you came back.
Yeah.
You said you were also doom scrolling. You were spending a lot of time there, comparing yourself to others. All that, I think we can all relate to that relationship with social media. For sure, I can. So from that cycle, at some point you forgot to log back in, and then you realize, okay, it's gone now. And how did that feel?
I mean, so maybe it's good to know, like, I'm not against social media. I'm definitely using other platforms as well. But for me, there needs to be almost, let's call it, return on investment. Mm-hmm. Like on my time, there needs to be a return that I invest into the things I do. And with Instagram specifically, I mean, Facebook already a long time ago, but That's just because I think everyone really left Facebook, so there was nothing really to stay on there but finding houses maybe somewhere and finding a room to rent. But so then Instagram for a longer time still had some kind of use case for me, because I felt like I got something in return, whether there was updates of my friends or staying up to date with a few things. But I don't know if it was a change in algorithm, if it was any other changes to the platform, that then I gradually started to realize that, or I had this feeling that, I'm not really enjoying the time as much as I used to on the platform. But I also became a bit more conscious and self-aware about, if you sit there 45 minutes on the platform before going to bed, then you think, I've could have slept these 45 minutes already, and what did I get in return besides not sleeping 45 extra minutes that I would be probably glad about tomorrow morning? And often then the answer was nothing. Absolutely nothing that I got in return. So then, then the process started that I would think, hey, let me maybe try to get off it. And I've had multiple periods before this when you would just delete the app. But then I started saying, okay, why not just delete my account? What is it really that's keeping me on there? And then the moments I would log back into it, I would realize faster and faster, and maybe at the beginning it was 30 minutes, then 20, then 15, and then 10. After 10 minutes, I would realize, what have I gotten out of this in these past 10 minutes? And then that's how the gradual process, it's a habit, right? It's changing a habit, and also maybe realizing that a new habit is possible, or that you can live without an old habit.
We are designed to maximize what we do with our time. So virtually you're telling yourself, the 3 hours a day I spend on Instagram is worth nothing. Well, you learn nothing, probably is correct, but your brain is certainly getting something that you are scrolling there. And well, for me at least, that I tell myself, but I could have gone for a run, I could have learned piano, I could have done this, could have, would have, should have, but probably never did any of them anyway. Did you actually do something with the time that you saved, that you feel like, this actually did help me?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And no, probably not as much as if I would have maybe wanted to.
Yeah.
But also back then my thoughts never really went directly to, what could I do instead? But it was more like the time that I spent on it now was not adding any value to my life at this point. But it was never like that I thought, I could be doing X, Y, Z instead of it. And like I said as well, I think living without any of these platforms and without being triggered by any of these addictions that these algorithms try to get us into is very difficult, I think, for us, whether that's because of work, anyone kind of seeks this type of distraction as well. Yeah. That's maybe these days, maybe that's a bit more LinkedIn, since I'm looking for a job. And I also realize now, again, on a new platform that is very functional and where I clearly get something out of it, spending time on it. I do, however, see myself how my behaviors also kind of migrated from one to the other platform. So you would just open it instantly to just check, almost like the habit, right? Or after you deleted it, I'm sure all of us have been there. You go to the toilet, you pull your phone out, and you click already where it used to be. And then only you realize that it's not there anymore. So definitely also some of these behaviors migrated to other platforms. So I don't think I've ever really thought about, let me try to very consciously use this time that I saved now, because I guess it's also every day it's different. It's not like that I have 2 more hours every day, I think, right? It's some days you would use it a lot more than other days. But that's, I guess, also the room for improvement. Would I want to be a lot more conscious about this and find other things to do that in the time that I used to be on the platform? Yes, absolutely. But then again, other platforms also take away your attention. So
it sounds like you developed more conscience for how you spend your time online. Like, you are more aware now. And I think a lot of people are only aware when they look at their screen time. And I think sometimes myself included. And if I know I spent too much time on it this week, I don't even want to look at it at all. Just pushing it away. So I'm pushing it down, my conscience. I'm not like on top of it. But it sounds like you're now, even if you're spending time on other platforms, you are at least consciously there. And you're realizing, okay, I've been here 10 minutes. Now it's time to exit again.
Yeah, and I think there's also difference. Also, I'm sure there's a lot of people for whom Instagram has a very good use case, right? Again, not to say that this is the case for everyone. My example, for example, with Twitter for a long time was that before Elon Musk took over, this is a bit more, I don't have the date on it. This is all a bit more feeling based right now and what I assume. But my algorithm used to be that I would scroll, and it was, of course, intellectually stimulating. I follow a lot of politics on there. I study politics, international relations. So I feel like I was almost reading the news as well, right? But then at some point it would stop because I would reach the point that I logged in the last time. And this was not like a 30, 45 minute scroll for me. This was maybe a 10, 15 minute thing at tops, that I would reach the point. Oh, this is a post I already read maybe like 2 hours ago. Boom, I can close it again and I was done. And that changed over time now as well with kind of like a new For You page, like TikTok has it as well, that just feeds you with so much content that I don't even follow. And now with the whole, politics and overall environment that I guess we are in globally, also I feel like the content has become a bit different. So now I realize I have very similar feelings that I had about Instagram like 2 years ago. I have this with Twitter now. So I haven't deleted my account, but maybe just for my learning from Instagram, because I still see some, let's say, I still get a return on investment on my time on Twitter, but just I changed my use case, for example. I don't have it on my phone anymore. And I feel like through this experience with Instagram, I've become so much more aware of actually what's possible and what's also good for my own mental health, maybe not being on there, that I feel like I'm a lot more conscious also on, let's say, the usage of other platforms. But I'm curious how to see how it develops. Maybe in a few weeks or month. Maybe after the next American election, who knows what's happening to the platform then? Who knows? Maybe it's also time to say goodbye to that platform. But until now, I still see, like there's different use cases for different platforms for different people.
Because also, what you mentioned, why you stepped away from Instagram, I think, yeah, I agree. At the beginning, also when I joined Instagram, you did follow the people you knew.
Yeah.
There was not a lot of public pages per se. And I saw your pictures, and I knew who is up to what. And I didn't used to see supermodels and fancy car and rich people giving advice on how to make money. And one of the stuff that you said, if I remember correctly, you said you stepped away from Instagram as a platform. For one is constant scrolling of things which doesn't add value to your life, comparing yourself to others, and FOMO, fear of missing out on activities. And I was thinking, now you said you're more active on Twitter, but I just feel like people who give you the vibe of comparing yourself to others and fear of missing out are not on Twitter. Do you agree with this?
Well, the comparison, I mean, these like comparing myself to others and FOMO, I would say this really happened more during when I was a teenager and when Instagram became, when they added stories. So around that time when they added stories, they took it from Snapchat and stuff. And I mean, it was probably the time when I was 16 to 18, 19, maybe those 3 years where I would say most of this happened for me. Like we're young, we're teenagers, we constantly compare ourselves to others, even just, let's say, in non-virtual settings. But then just online, it's so much worse because you only see the good side, the perfect side. Of course I compared a lot to people I know, because this is, I would have, I guess, a better understanding of who they are and what I can actually compare myself to. Like I'm not comparing myself to Joe Biden when I see him come on my Twitter feed, maybe sometimes certain behaviors, but not this, I would say, this really mentally struggling comparison that I would have with friends, for example, or people I know.
And that's why I'm trying to think of, is Twitter really addictive?
Oh, right now 100%, I think.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah. Also really depends on your feeds, of course, but I feel like especially the new For You, or kind of the For You page where a lot of other stuff is feeded into. And also now they do the same with the videos. When you're on the videos, you can swipe endlessly and all kinds of videos come in. And I mean, yeah, I guess all of them try to optimize the time you spend on the time and maximize the time that you spend on the platform. So every single algorithm there is somewhat addictive. So I'm curious, for example, how to see a platform like Be Real, which I've never really used. Maybe that was just a bit after my time on social media, but how will they manage to, because it's an interesting approach to it, right? That it's just your close friends and you do it once a day, blah, blah, blah. But can they survive like this longer, right? Can they survive in the attention economy that we're in and really run a successful business maybe? Or will the time come when they will also have to take decisions? We need to increase the time people spend on the platform.
This is what I was wondering, and I actually, maybe someone who's listening to this and who's an app developer has now this golden idea. When you said that now you have this For You page and you're getting fed all this stuff that you actually don't want to see or that you don't follow, that maybe there's a gap in the market to create an app where that actually has you spend 5 to 10 minutes on it and you only see the stuff you're actually interested in.
You have to ask the question, how are they making money? Instagram, TikTok, they make money based on showing you ads, and your attention is their business model. It becomes a habit, you know, like you're at a concert, all of a sudden everyone takes out their camera, and I have always this awkward moment of, oh, should I take off my camera? What if there's this thing that I miss? And it comes naturally that, oh, what the missing out, oh wow. But whoever looks at their videos of concerts and pictures.
I mean, so many people say this, yes, whoever, but then still everyone does it. And I did realize probably after one of the bigger and more apparent changes that I felt in my routines after I was not active on Instagram anymore is that exactly in those moments that you mentioned, whether that's concerts, I go a lot to the football stadium, any other, let's say, events that you're outside where you would usually take your phone or something, maybe take a story and, hey, I'm here, I'm doing this and that I did realize that I was a lot more conscious. Let's say I'm going to a concert, I maybe take 1 or 2 videos, 1 or 2 pictures at the beginning or at the end, but then it's done. Then I enjoy the event that I'm attending for the rest of the time, and it kind of just happened automatically because I kind of knew, okay, I don't have this tool like Instagram in my phone where I could constantly add something new and new people can see it. No, I just take a video for me, maybe my grandma, maybe my parents, maybe friends that I want to send it on WhatsApp to, but it's not like that I constantly have to update, this is what I'm seeing now, this is what I'm seeing. So I've become a lot more conscious also to then be a lot more, I guess, present in these moments and really just save them in my head, I guess, instead of, like you said, go back and watch 10, 15 videos that you took on events like these.
I do this at concerts too now. I recently went to Travis Scott and I was just there and I took a couple videos. My phone was actually also dead after that. And then I was looking at him performing and I saw the crowd and a lot of people with their phones and I felt like they are missing out actually. Yes, yeah. I changed it in my head. That was actually a cool feeling. Maybe, for all the listeners, try it out next time you go to a public event. Yeah. Because the others are missing out because they're not looking at the show. They're looking at their phone.
You try to get the best angle, like really. And then you try to think, especially at concert, let me get the perfect time on the job, on the whatever, what's famous, what they do.
Perfect location, some people would
say. To round off, my main learning from this time was, and that's 100% individual calculation decision that everyone has to make, but what is the return I get on my time? And this is different. This equation is different for every person. Everyone should at least practice this exercise of self-awareness. And if you come to the conclusion, hey, the amount of time that I spent on this and this platform is giving me this in return, I'm okay with that, for whether it's my mental health, my business, whatever the reason is, then that should be perfectly fine and accepted. And if not, then you can it's not easy, but you can definitely change it.
Another thing connected to, and before we jump into our format, the quickfire, where we're going to ask you some short questions and you shoot some short answers about yourself, and maybe also connected a little bit to this topic of social media, and what we discussed before is focus. Now that you spend less time on social media or more conscious time on social media, you also have more focus for other things in your life, right?
Mhm.
And you shared before backstage that you have a tool that really helps you create focus for yourself or for a certain task.
So it's meditation. It's very simple meditation. It has become a bit of a, almost I would call it a subconscious habit in my mind. It's a very simple technique, guided meditation, 10 minutes. You can do it longer, but I usually always did it 10 minutes. And it's all about just being aware of the state you're in right now and accepting that different thoughts come into your head, and then just not questioning those thoughts, not trying to suppress those thoughts, just accepting them, and then moving back your attention or your focus to what you've been doing. And this came, I discovered this when I was starting my bachelor in Maastricht, and we would have these exams in a huge convention hall with 2,000 students sitting in the same spot, and everyone would come in. There's a timer running. It's super stressful. Everyone has their one table. It's these people walking around constantly checking that no one is cheating during the exam. And I failed my first both classes at uni, and I came from high school, and of course that was a bit devastating. Was that the right decision to go to study, go to university, all of this? And then I realized that it's all about finding focus and calming myself down as well, entering this daunting exam hall and just making sure that my focus is on my exam and not on anything that's happening around. And it's this simple technique that you can do for 10 minutes, but also maybe 1 or 2 minutes. I could do a short round.
Are you down for that, Serge?
Sure.
Let's go. Nice. So for all the listeners, we're gonna do this exercise with Lenny, a shorter version than the 10-minute one. If you are not able to meditate right now and close your eyes because you're driving a car, you're on the bike, something like that, feel free and skip ahead 2 minutes once we started. Otherwise, you're really invited to join us. Also, feel free to do it later again.
I'll do 1 minute, and maybe 10 minutes is nice because then, especially if you do it guided, the person can calm you down a bit. You learn a bit about your awareness of your body, what is hurting, how does it feel to sit down, all the different parts of your body, the different muscles. So you really almost like get into Zen mode to be then able to actually just focus on the meditation itself. All we're going to do is we're going to breathe and we will count our breath. We'll count to 10, and at 10 we'll start at 1 again. And anytime during this, maybe let's do it for 1 minute, anytime your mind wanders off to a different topic, anything but counting the breath, just recognize it, don't think too much about it, and try to get back to where you left off counting.
What does counting the breath mean? Because we do breath work and we count, for example, 10 counts and then it's breathing in and then 10 counts of breathing out.
No, so this is 1, 2.
In
One,
is 1,
yes.
out is 2. Mm-hmm.
And then we try to go to 10, and you just focus on the meditation, and in between I'll try to just make sure that if you're wandered off for, let's say, 30 seconds, just to briefly make sure that you come back to the breathing, okay?
Should we close our eyes or sit in a certain way, or also
however you feel comfortable, but close your eyes is usually helpful to also have the focus.
Right.
Okay?
Let's close our eyes then.
So I'm going to start the timer now, and we start to breathe in. Just try to count with your breath. As soon as the mind wanders off, try to get back to the counting. When you reach 10, go back to 1. Okay, that was 1 minute already. You can find yourself back into reality. So I would do this during the 5 minutes before the exam started, and we all had to sit down again. I would just do this for 5 minutes every time my mind wanders off. If I hear something, I think, oh no, someone walked by, just try to get back to the counting. And this has become, the more you do it, of course, the better you get at it. All of a sudden you can count to 10 without your mind going anywhere. Then you do multiple rounds without your mind going any other places. And it really helped me. Even, I mean, I don't do it very frequently these days. It really just comes back when I'm, let's say, really stressed. But I have this tool in my toolbox, let's say, right now that I can just deploy once I feel I need to refocus. I am stressed. But back then, when I was in uni, I was doing it almost every day for maybe a year. And then I accepted, hey, maybe it's not something I need every day, but anytime I'm in a position that I feel stressed or need focus again, I'll try to do it. And I feel like it had a big impact on my subconscious.
Yeah. Dear listeners, if you joined this exercise, please let us know down in the comments below how you liked it and what the impact was for you. I realize right now that I have way more focus and I'm way more relaxed at the same time. Like,
you mentioned breathwork, right? It's also it's probably the simplest breathwork that you can do as well, and that's always helpful.
I feel more present in the moment. Yeah.
And I think I've never talked to someone who, let's say, focused a minute or two on their breath that said afterwards, oh, I feel more stressed or less focused than before. It's probably a 100% success rate.
Nice. Definitely do this.
Then you should try it at home
and do it again and again, because you'll get better at it. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing this tool with us. Definitely gonna add that to my personal toolbox. Let's jump into the last segment of this podcast, and that's called Quickfire. Sometimes it's not that quick, because then we do ask you to elaborate on your answers if it's something that we have questions about. But one question that we ask all our guests is, what does it mean for you to be a healthy man or to become a healthy man?
For me, it's, let's call it a work in progress, figuring really out, right? As a young adult, I'm 27 right now, and you kind of leave uni, and I feel like that's slowly when the time starts, when you start to think about different things, or like you start to perceive your health in a different way. I would say I have 3 pillars. It's nutrition. It's what I eat. In German we have a saying, right? You are what you eat. You are what you put into yourself, into yourself, something like that. Exercise, any kind of exercise, whether that's yoga, whether that's running, whether that's working out a bit, anything that gets the heart going a bit. Bicycle, really, I love to do, or I enjoy doing a lot of different sports. And the last one is probably, I'd call it maybe right now self-awareness. So maybe a bit more mentally focused. Just like really, really getting to know yourself, being self-aware about yourself. What do I like? What do I not like? Why do I react like this in this situation? Why am I angry at this person? And, like, taking moments throughout my routine to also find these moments of reflection and being open to self-awareness, because I guess that's why a lot of people, and also why I struggled with it a lot before, it requires radical openness to be truly self-aware of oneself, right?
What do you mean by that? Radical openness?
Yeah, you might discover something that you don't like about yourself when you are self-aware, right? And realizing, for example, that you are, let's call it, let's say, stubborn. Mm-hmm. It takes I feel like that's also a bit an easier thing to recognize of oneself, but there's certainly harder things to recognize of yourself, or think, hey, I'm stubborn, and this is because of this and that, and people have told me this, but no one likes to receive that feedback, right? So I guess that's what I mean with, you need to be open to really get to know yourself, and then you can change it, you can work on it, right? Only then.
Yeah. Self-awareness is the first pillar to a lot of development, like in the personal space. So to summarize, it's what you put inside yourself: nutrition, exercise, movement, and getting to know yourself better. And so what it means to be a healthy man is for you to invest in those 3 pillars and work on them continuously.
Or maybe if I can add the 4th one, sleep.
Sleep.
Actually, I think sleep was one of the first things that I read this book from Matthew Walker. It's called Why We Sleep, and he's like a sleep PhD, something like this. He's quite famous. He's out there a lot on podcasts and stuff. And
Matthew Walker.
It radically changed my way how I thought about sleep. He basically elaborates in a decent sized book every single thing that happens to you while you sleep, what happens to your brain, why sleep is important, what happens when you drink, what's happened when you smoke, what happens this and this before you sleep, memory, what happens in your brain, short-term memory, long-term memory, all of these things. And it really radically changed my view on it's probably the most important thing we can do each day to improve our health and be prevent anything health related for the future, both mentally and physically.
Amazing. I think we haven't had this answer yet. In the ballpark, but new edge. I like it. Thank you for sharing this with us.
What do you think is overrated?
German trains are overrated and sleeping is underrated.
German trains.
Getting good enough sleep. I mean, yeah, I've heard a lot of people always talking about them, but I came back to Germany now and they're terrible. It's so bad.
Yeah, they really need to rework the infrastructure.
Yeah.
And underrated?
Underrated getting a good quality sleep.
Okay, because
I see too many people with bad sleep habits.
Okay.
I do have another question. What do you wish people knew more about you? Is there some aspects of you that maybe doesn't come up when people just meet you?
I mean, it usually is. It takes some time for when I get to know new people. I feel like at the beginning I'm always a bit more reserved. I always think that my true self, or really the person that I really am, comes out once I feel the trust is there and a relationship has been built, which I guess can also at the beginning come off as, or I've heard this as well, that I'm perceived maybe a bit more cold and less engaged. And I guess if people would know already that there's a different side to it, that maybe would create new friendships that were not created because let's say my character was perceived different at first. But usually it takes me a bit of time to, I guess, really get my full personality out and for people to really know who I am.
Okay.
I was wondering if there's one thing that you could give to our listeners who are obviously interested in the topic of men's health and men's mental health. What would be one thing you would like to leave them with?
Two things: good sleep. Get good sleep. But like I said at the beginning, I feel like these decisions to whether you want to stay on social media or not, it's not a decision that you should take because someone else took it for themselves. And quite a few times I've had reactions to when I was talking about not being on Instagram anymore. People would make jokes about, oh, you think you're better than us or anything, right? And I always thought, no, I genuinely don't. This is your time, this is your mind, this is your mental health. Like, if you're fine with it, it's okay. Who am I to judge that? So if you do the exercise and really try to dig deep into your self-awareness and see if that's how you want to spend your time and you get something out of it, then that's fine. But make it a personal decision and make it your own and own it. Own your decision and don't get too influenced by, I guess, what other people have decided for themselves in the past, because everyone comes with their own mental baggage. And no one knows how big the mental baggage of someone else is. I would say almost ever. I don't know how you feel. I will never really feel what you feel, right? So take your own decisions and do what you feel, what makes you feel, I guess, more happy.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I think this is something that my yoga teacher told us yesterday. The answer is already within you. You just need to learn how to listen to yourself.
Self-awareness again.
Thank you so much for being with us today, Lenny. If you like this episode, you're probably seeing this content on some sort of social media or channel, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're already there, be conscious about the platforms you're on, or try to be, or develop that type of conscience. And yeah, if you think this was valuable and you like the conversation we had, then do share it with your friends. Comment below. We try to really provide value and help people with the conversations we have. So if you have the chance, do share and subscribe and like and give 5 stars on Spotify. It really helps us amplify the voice for and raise awareness for men's health. So thank you for being here, everybody, listeners, Lenny, Surush, myself, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you on the
Bye-bye.
next one.
Bye bye.